Welcome to the Brian Craig Show podcast. My name is Brian Craig. The Brian Craig Show is brought to you by Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. If you're in the state of Florida and you need roof replacement or repair, Tom Laporta is your guy. He can handle a job of any size. He works on every type of structure, and he'll never sell you a roof you do not need. Online at laportaroofing.com. All right. So this USAID story just keeps growing and growing every day as Elon Musk and the Doge teams start going through things. And, you know, the thing about Elon Musk, it's not just that he's uncovering these things, and he works directly for the president. I know they're all freaking out. Oh, you know, President Musk, and there's a coup, and he doesn't work for the government. He is a direct representative working for President Trump, the president of the United States. He's kind of like, you know, Tom Homan is the drug czar, or I'm sorry, the border czar. We've had drug czars too. Do we have I don't think we have a drug czar now. Well, I guess Homan's also the drug czar, shutting down the flow from Mexico, but he's the border czar. Well, Elon Musk is like the government waste czar, whatever you want to call it. So he's a direct representative of the president, and he's finding all this stuff out. And the problem they're having is not just that their corruption's getting shut down and exposed. It's that Elon Musk also owns the number one source of news on the planet Earth, and that is X. So when Doge finds something, Elon puts it out there on X, and then the whole world sees it. And even though the media have pretty much a blackout on this, and I don't care what people tell me, because I was talking on the morning show today that the mainstream media, and in the mainstream media, I'm including Fox News, CNN, and MSNBC is who I'm talking about. Newsmax is doing a lot of coverage on it. And Fox News is really sitting on this story. And I've heard from some people, well, Laura and Jesse and Sean are doing the story. Yeah, well, during the day, I haven't seen more than a mention of it. And that was like 2 days ago. So the media are really sitting on this story because it exposes them and their friends. But because of X, it's out there. Now, if Elon Musk had never bought Twitter and turned it into X, all these stories we're hearing about the USAID would not be allowed. The old liberals that ran Twitter would shut it down. So there was a story the other day that Chelsea Clinton received $84 million. We have more details on that I want to share now that just dropped just a few minutes ago. And Bill and Hillary got many millions too. So the Clinton family as a whole have gotten well over $100 million from USAID. And you got to wonder, do all the first families get payoffs like this? I wouldn't be surprised if the Bushes did, okay? There's going to be a lot of establishment Republicans that get caught up in this. But listen to this. Here's the update. And this is on X. Doge says USAID gave Chelsea Clinton $84 million. It was supposed to go to Haitian relief, but line items, remember, they're going through everything line by line. The line items show $3 million of the $84 million was spent on Chelsea Clinton's wedding, and $10 million purchased her luxury mansion, which I believe is in New York. And I think it's not a mansion or an apartment, but she could have an apartment in New York that costs $10 million and a mansion somewhere else too. And obviously the entire Washington establishment have been using USAID as their personal piggy bank. That's just the reality of the situation. And they can sit around all day long and tell us that that's not what's been going on, but it is, in fact, exactly what's been going on, okay? And every day, more and more is coming out. Now, if you've not heard my previous shows this week, both the podcast and my the radio show or my YouTube videos this week, go back and watch those because I've done very detailed, extensive coverage of everything Doge has uncovered. And, you know, you see the panic because the permanent Washington class is what Tucker calls these groups of people. Their entire lives and financial lives of their families are based around this thievery that they're doing from the U.S. taxpayers with USAID. And I have not heard anyone regardless of their politics, that are not disgusted by it. I mean, I'm not talking about the pundits you see on TV. Those are paid pundits. But what's going to happen as the money stops flowing, which it has, I mean, it's been cut off. The Trump administration fired, I think, 10,000 of these USAID workers. And there's going to be other outlets that don't have money to pay their bills. And as that starts to happen, it's going to be disastrous. We're going to start to get more and more information. And, you know, what's crazy about it, when you see what's going on in Washington with the establishment are losing everything in D.C. They're not able to keep control. They're losing their grip. And President Trump shut down the Department of Education. And today, I'm going to play some of the audio. Maxine Waters and some other low-life Democrats from Congress went with a group of people, and they were trying to bust in to the Department of Education office building in D.C. And there was a security guard out front that they were confronting, that they really were just nasty and trying to humiliate him. And what these people don't understand, and when I'm talking about these people, I'm talking about the permanent Washington class of people. This is their whole world. Okay, their attitude is it's this. It's their country. The rest of us are just living in it. If the ones that are ruling the country are in the Capitol. It's kind of like the Hunger Games, where the people in the Capitol were rich and eating cake, and the rest of the country in Hunger Games are starving. That's why, you know, they're all hungry. That's how they view us. In fact, maybe the Hunger Games is based on what's going on in this country today. And when these agencies are getting shut down, USAID, Department of Education, and then all this waste that is going on with them comes out. These people in Washington are so deep into it, they don't even realize how stupid and bad they look by fighting to keep this waste going. So let me play that. This is Maxine Waters is the biggest mouth here, and she's with this mob trying to intimidate the security guard in front of the Department of Education today. Listen.
Do they know that we are here? Max, ask the question again. That's the important one.
Were you told, are you making this decision to stand in front of this door on your own behalf, on behalf of the Department of Education, or were you told to come out here and block members of Congress and ride the desk?
I'm doing my job.
So everybody's
what is that?
We're doing our jobs.
We're trying to save you. We're doing our jobs.
Show them your ID. Were you told to stand here?
See, they're trying, this mob that Maxine Waters is leading here, that show us your ID. They're trying to get this guy's identity. They're trying to dox him so they can intimidate him. And what's going on at these different agencies with these Congress people, they're in a panic because their money is getting cut off. And they're just in a panic. The checks are not coming like they were. And the reason they want to get into these places so bad, like the Department of Education offices, they want to go in there and delete all the evidence from the computers, is what my guess would be, as to all the corruption that's going on.
Did you decide to stand here and block members of Congress from entering the Department of Education?
Access
to federal buildings.
You said security. We're allowed in there.
So a private security.
We're allowed in there. We're members of Congress. You know, you hear what they're doing. I mean, this is really what they were doing. With the Maxine Waters and these other Democrats, they were leading a mob, an insurrection mob, trying to go into the Department of Education and take it over.
Contractor.
Do you know who members of Congress are?
Members of
Congress. We're all members of Congress.
Maybe he doesn't understand.
A private security contractor is making the decision to block members of Congress from a public access entrance.
I don't think he knows.
You have the authority as a private security contractor to block members of Congress. That has been knighted and granted to you.
Oh my goodness!
You have to at least let us go to the desk.
Yeah, too many goons out. Oh my! Look at that. Who told you to do this? Open the door.
I see it.
So do you understand who members of Congress are?
I got it, yeah.
Well, and you don't care. Who are we then?
I got the job to do.
You don't care. We have a job to do.
We're not.
You know, because you're a member of Congress does not mean you have access to go anywhere you want. Remember when Republican Congress people would go to the D.C. Gitmo? Right? They wouldn't let them in. They couldn't just go in and go back into the cell blocks. Most of the time they were outside. A couple of times they got in there, but most of the time they didn't. That doesn't mean you have a free pass to go into any government office because you're a member of Congress.
Dangerous people. We're not, I don't know, we're members security. There are no thieves and thugs out here. We're members of Congress. We're parents, we're teachers.
See, you know, in particular, we've seen some senators at Doge, okay? But these are House members here. House members, they're all House members led by Maxine Waters. House members are under tremendous amounts of pressure, more pressure than people realize, because they're up for re-election every 2 years. So they're constantly running. So they owe a lot of favors to donors. And these are Democrats. So they owe a lot of favors to the teachers union that runs the Department of Education, or did before Trump shut it down and took it over. And they're in a panic because their big donors, the teachers union, they can't deliver on the promises they made. So the teachers union has these low-life Democrat members of the House of Representatives in front of this place trying to break in.
There's our ID, right there.
We were elected to do this.
This is our job.
I've never seen one.
This is our job. We're doing our job.
Oh, wow. You're securing this building against who?
Members of Congress.
Who are you
The
protecting?
people.
It's members of the people's
So
house.
this is the beginning of full transparency of this administration.
That's right.
The administration that talked about they're going to open the doors to all of these
Oh, my
things
goodness.
and show the American public what is going on. They
Transparency.
won't even open the door to this building
That's
to
right.
members of
Go to the
Congress.
business
We are not posing any threat here.
Now, keep in mind, this isn't just like 3, 4, 5, even 6 members of the House of Representatives. There's a whole bunch of House members there. It's hard to tell how many, but they have a huge mob of people with them. I don't know who they are, teachers union, their staffs, I don't know, but they have a huge mob of people that are with them and behind them that they're trying to lead in. And after all this January 6th business we've been hearing about interrupting government business and leading mobs, they're literally leading a mob.
No, we are not dangerous people. We have not done
won't even
anything.
let us
We're
talk to
trying
the
to
Department of
request
Education.
a meeting, and they won't. They have a private security contractor who, on his own, is making
That's right.
decisions on behalf of the Department of Education.
So Congressman Hayes, what you're saying is they're not, they allow billionaires and his minions to come in
I
to
don't
this
know who
building.
he is. I don't know who he is, but I know who I am. And I'm a member of Congress with oversight responsibilities trying to request a meeting, and a private security contractor is not allowing me to enter the building.
They allow billionaires to go in this building, but not the people's representatives. They allow billionaires and their cronies to go in, but not, there's a lack of
Oh, I love this.
transparency
This
here.
is the best.
The members of Congress, the people's representatives are not allowed in. This is not transparent.
They're locking our kids out.
They're locking our kids out. You know, with this second term of Trump, you know, I when everything was over 4 years ago and Biden came in, I told people on the show, I said, we are going to find when Trump comes back into his second and non-consecutive term, it's going to be better than having 2 back-to-back, okay? Because he's going to come in with such a mandate. And look at what's happened. There's been a bigger change in Washington than has ever occurred, at least not since the Civil War. I mean, there's never been a change in any of our lifetimes as big as this. And Trump is not messing around. You know, I had a press conference today with the Prime Minister of Japan. And if you watch that press conference, it was not like the press conferences were in the first term. They asked hypotheticals. What if this happens? What if that happens? He wouldn't answer hypotheticals. He didn't get into debates with members of the press. He answered questions very directly and then moved on. He didn't get involved in a 20-minute discussion and everything. They've shut the press out, and the Democrats are completely shut out. For the first time ever, the Republicans are governing as if they've won. And all the other times when Republicans have won the White House and the Congress, the first thing they do is want to make friends with the Democrats and start caving and sharing power with them. And the Democrats, one of the reasons they're freaking out is not just because all their money's getting cut off by Doge. They're not accustomed to being shut out by Republicans. They're used to intimidating Republicans to share power with them. All right, let's get back to this. This was all today in front of the Department of Education.
Not only are they
not letting us in. Now they've called the Department of Homeland Security. We are members of Congress here to talk with the Department of Education, and they're treating us.
The kids deserve to have us go in and fight for them.
This is appalling.
Children of this country deserve that battle.
Oh my God. You know, I love how they're telling us they're hiding behind the children. We're here for the children. We're representing the children. What they're representing is the teachers union. Okay. The teachers union spends tons of money getting all these Democrats elected. They can't deliver to their campaign donors, the teachers union. And it really shows you the power of the teachers union, that they have this entire squad. And every time I play this clip, some other Democrat comes up, this entire squad of Democrat House members that are out there doing their bidding.
This is a public institution. This is not Russia. Let the cameras see him. Let the cameras see him.
Okay, now here's Maxine Waters. She wants the cameras to show the security guard. So what? She can dox him? She can intimidate him?
This man here.
We are members of Congress.
Come in.
They're blocking
us. I want you to
us.
see this man here, who is a federal employee. He told us.
No, he's not.
Are you a federal employee?
No.
Huh?
Yes.
No, he said he's a federal employee. We pay him. We raise money to make sure that we have a Department of Education. Everybody that's hired at the Department of Education are here because we pay for them to be here. He's standing here today, blocking the door, and he can't give us a good reason why he's blocking this door.
Well, see, what they want to do is go in there and cause a disruption. And this is really revealing. And the Democrats, they're so out of control because they've never really been out of power before, ever, with even other Republican majorities, right? And they can't handle it. These are people that have never heard no. And Maxine Waters and some of the other Democrats, they play the race card and intimidate their way in and get all these things done, and they can't get it done. And look at this thug mentality. Get a camera on this guy. Who are you? What's your name?
They see right here, all access entrance.
Well, and I think it should be clear to parents in the United States, if you want to advocate on behalf of your children, you are not allowed to come into this building where you pay taxes. Parents who...
Oh, really? Because you pay taxes, you're allowed in all federal buildings? Is that what they said after January 6th? Right? I didn't realize that anyone could just go in any federal building whenever they wanted to, because the Democrats 4 years ago said that was an insurrection and sent people to prison without trial for doing what these Democrats are saying parents have the right to do. And where were, they're representing parents. Where were they when the Biden Homeland Security was harassing parents or writing down their license plates at the school board meetings in Virginia?
You have children who are disabled. Access is being blocked. You voted for members of Congress to advocate on behalf of your children with disabilities, for young women who have been victims of sexual assault in our classrooms, on our school grounds. Members of OCR are fighting for your children. We are not allowed in the building to talk to them. We are not allowed to advocate on behalf of America's children. America, we have a problem.
Yeah, no, everything's fine, America. This is amazing because what's happening here is, because we have this new generation of Republican leaders, right, in Washington, the MAGA people. And not only are they standing up to the Democrats, the Republicans in Washington are finally realizing, hey, we stand up to these Democrats. What are they going to do? Nothing. They look like children. Spoiled children when they go to whether it's the USAID offices or the Department of Education. Now, I want to tell you guys, there's a link in the description of this episode on whatever platform you're listening to me on, whether it's podcast, YouTube, wherever you're listening. Go in there. There's a link where you can get your very own Golf of America shirt. It's a great shirt. It's a beautiful shirt. You'll like it. And it's official. Trump changed the name. It's the Golf of America now. And I'm looking forward to going to the Gulf of America myself. I'm on the Atlantic coast of Florida, right? I'm on the east coast of Florida. That's the west coast of Florida. I haven't been to the Gulf in quite some time, and I'm looking forward to it. But in the description of this episode, on whatever platform you're listening to us on, you'll see it'll say Gulf of America t-shirt. Click that link. You might have to copy and paste it, depending on what platform you're on, and order your Gulf of America t-shirt and wear it with pride. My name's Brian Craig. This is the Brian Craig Show podcast. Going to take our first break and be back right after this. Experience the mystery, elegance, and soothing power of Dark Night candles. Only at candlesbyross.com. Handcrafted with care by Ross, the creator of the Dark Night candle line. These luxurious candles are designed to ease anxiety, relieve stress, and bring a serene glow to your home. Each flame represents resilience, strength, and quiet sophistication. Infused with deep, evocative fragrances, Dark Night candles are eco-friendly and handmade with care in the charming village of Grays Lake, Illinois. They're perfect for those who love modern luxury with a touch of mystique. Right now, enjoy free shipping and an exclusive buy two, get one free offer. No code needed. Shop the entire Dark Night candle collection today at candlesbyross.com. Let their glow bring warmth and serenity to your space. The Dark Night candle collection, where modern craftsmanship meets legendary spirit. Order now at candlesbyross.com. Unleash your potential and equip yourself with elite sports and fitness gear built for champions and take your game to the next level with SimpleStrength.store. Start with their breathing trainer respirator. Whether you're an athlete, a singer, or just want to improve your endurance, this powerful device strengthens your lungs, boosts your stamina, and enhances your overall performance. You can increase lung capacity without exhausting workouts. Adjust the resistance to match your fitness level. It's compact and portable too, so you can train anywhere, anytime. You'll breathe stronger, perform better, and feel the difference. You'll also find everything you need for running, sports, fitness equipment for your home, and much, much more. And at SimpleStrength.store, free shipping on all orders, site-wide. That's right, free shipping. So what are you waiting for? Gear up with performance-enhancing sports and fitness equipment designed for champions just like you with SimpleStrength.store. Have you been chasing financial freedom your whole life, but still find yourself living paycheck to paycheck? You're not alone. But ask yourself this: what if wealth wasn't just about money, but about faith, purpose, and lasting success? Author Mario R. Andre unveils the path to true financial independence in his book, Faith and Money Relations, available on Amazon. Faith and Money Relations is a blueprint for building wealth through faith and smart strategies. With this book, you'll learn how to convert your income into portfolio and passive earnings. Discover how to manage debt, grow multiple income streams, and create a life where money serves you, not the other way around. Author Mario R. Andre's approach is grounded in faith and designed to help you break free from corporate constraints and build wealth that stands the test of time. Are you ready to unlock your potential? Then order your copy of this must-read and life-changing book, Faith and Money Relations, from author Mario R. Andre. Available right now on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, and hardcover. Brian here. Right now, Mike Lindell at MyPillow is offering his first ever mega sale. With our promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout, you could save big money on top MyPillow products, the MyPillow sheets, the MyPillow 6-piece towel set, the MyPillow that started it all, and much, much more. And free shipping on all orders. That's right, free shipping on all orders with our promo code KANE at checkout. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. Brian Craig here with my wife and co-host, Kathy. Elon Musk today, I guess I could just say Elon, right? He's reached the, who else is named Elon in the world? But he posted this morning on X. The Doge team just discovered that FEMA sent $59 million last week to luxury hotels in New York City to house illegal migrants.
In luxury hotels.
Yeah.
We're not talking like basic stuff. This is like luxury. I mean, I'd like to know, was this the Plaza? I mean, what luxury hotels took this money?
Yeah.
I'd like to know exactly which ones.
And, this is an interesting thing because the $59 million is not going to go too far. Those hotels already got paid, right? And there's no more money coming.
I think that was their payment. They got paid.
But they're going to start evicting them because they're not getting paid anymore. So they're going to start evicting them, and that is going to be something to see. And I'll tell you another thing about this. The Doge team is going from agency to agency, and I think there's kind of a perception that, okay, when you hear a new agency, they're done with the first one. They're not. They have people that stay at these agencies. They go there and do this big thing, but when they move on, they leave people at the previous place. So it's not like they're there for an afternoon and then they move on.
So say you have a luxury hotel in New York and they fill up the rooms with illegals. Do they book other people or do they completely fill it up and just tell everybody they're booked? I mean, that's just outrageous to me. That is what our tax dollars, that money, and Elon said that was illegal to do that. He said that money is allocated for people that have been hurt by disasters, and that's what that money's meant for. So that is a commingling, I guess, or a transferring of funds that should not be allowed.
Yeah, and it really does damage to those hotels because these are some of the upscale hotels in New York, and they buy as many rooms as they can, and they do fill up the whole hotels. Who wants to stay in a hotel that spent a year or more housing illegals? What's the condition of that hotel?
I'd like to get a list of these hotels.
Yeah, because
that should come out.
These are not like if we go to a hotel. People are rough on hotel rooms in general. I'm not, but when people go to a hotel, it's typically for a few days, maybe a week. With the illegals, they're living in the hotel. So when they're there, it's not for a week; it's for a year or however long. I wonder, and
they're getting maid service. And are we paying for room service?
That's what I was going to ask.
Were they? And I bet you that's true. I bet you that we paid for their food. Meanwhile, the people in North Carolina, American citizens, are living in tents through the winter because FEMA had no money. This is, I tell you, it shows you where the priorities are of the Democrats. They hate America. They hate Americans. They don't have your back. I don't understand anybody who votes for them. And they're not America first at all. They only want to take care of these people that don't even belong here.
Yeah, no. When you say food, I would imagine they get to order room service. Sure.
And at a luxury hotel, that's expensive. I mean, you're talking if you have, say they put a family of 4 in one room.
And you could order alcohol.
For a dinner in a luxury hotel. I mean, that's...
Why not?
And since we're paying the bill, who cares?
Exactly. It's not like they can
You're
charge
talking
them.
$100, $200
in
New York.
Like I said, it'll start coming to a head in New York when they start evicting. And I wanted to play this clip.
Because, and they overcharge those things, too, to get more money.
The Democrats are in a complete panic over Elon Musk. They're really freaking out because that's their money. This is Jamie Raskin on MSNBC over the weekend.
What I'm thinking about and talking to, my friends at Democracy Defenders and other lawyers about is, could there be a nationwide class action lawsuit to follow up on last week's victories against Musk, against the Trump administration for this breach in computer security and the data of all American taxpayers? It could be a class action suit on behalf of all Americans. If the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers want to opt out and they don't want their part of the money for the contamination of their data, fine, they can opt out. But really, it's a suit on behalf of everybody because that's our information. It doesn't belong to Elon Musk or his little midnight crew. It belongs to the people, and the government has to hold it in trust. Now, there's specific statutes which say that information can only be accessed for tax purposes.
Okay, so enough of this. This is what this Defenders of Democracy, any organization that calls themselves Defender of Democracy is doing the exact opposite. In fact, democracy was in play here and elected President Trump to do this. This is one of his campaign promises. And if you notice the dangers of the lawfare, they're taking the lawfare to new levels now, right? They're going to these judges trying to stop Trump. They're talking about a class action lawsuit. The government is not run by courts. What the federal courts do is decide whether or not something's constitutional. And if it's not constitutional, sometimes they got to pass a new law so that it is. You know, the judges aren't in charge of the executive branch. And I don't think Trump's going to stop doing anything he's doing. And I was pretty impressed that they made Elon drop big balls. And then Trump told Elon to hire big balls back, the kid with the scrolls. And if you look, and I saw Trump over the weekend on Air Force One, he's not paying attention to any of these judges. He'll listen to the Supreme Court when it gets to the Supreme Court. But these Obama, Biden, and Clinton judges that they're going to stop him, no one is in the Trump administration is going to listen to them. And it blows my mind that these Democrats are on TV arguing in favor of maintaining corruption.
What they're trying to do, and it's not working, is they're trying to get some traction. They're desperate to get people outraged and to garner some support from the Americans that they'll turn on Elon. And they're trying to get something going here, but it's not going to happen because Americans across the board are pissed off at the amount of corruption and stealing that has been going on. So nobody is going to jump on this guy's bandwagon and be upset over this. They're more pissed off at him and the other Democrats for stealing millions and millions, billions of dollars from us, sending it to other countries. There needs to be a full audit, and this is what they're afraid of this money that was allocated, where it went, and how much went to the actual cause. If they're even, you know, a lot of these things, people are outraged that they were sending money for this and that in other countries. That's a ruse. That there was no program. Maybe they made one up. This was a ruse to launder money.
Yeah,
they might have given them $100,000, but they kept the rest. So that's what it is. Like the thing with Haiti, they're saying Chelsea Clinton got $84 million and that Haiti got $3 million. That's what they do. They create a crisis, then they send it money and they pocket the biggest chunk. So that's what they are afraid of, is not only he's uncovering this, but he's going to start naming names and saying, this guy took this guy took that. And that's what I think is going to happen. Elon is on a mission. Nothing's going to stop him. And, you know, I think it's amazing. And the American people are not going to get behind these guys and be outraged over this. They're outraged over the theft that people are dealing with when they are working 2-3 jobs, can't afford food, insurance. And then you have FEMA giving $60 million to illegals to live in luxury hotels with food service and all this other stuff. And maid service. While there's people in North Carolina in the mountains in the wintertime living in tents in the snow. It's outrageous. And I just don't see people of this country getting behind anything that's going to stop Elon. It's not going to happen. They're too angry.
And because Elon Musk has X, when they find something, he posted on X, which reaches more people than all these media outlets combined.
Yeah.
If Elon had not bought Twitter, they would be able to do it because there wouldn't be a way to get the information out to so many like this. And
it's amazing.
The old people that ran Twitter would never allow this information. They would call it disinformation and lies and silence it like they did the laptop.
They have I've never seen anything like it. And now that he's defunding USAID and all these other things, the mainstream media, the left media, they have nobody feeding them scripts. They're going to be cut off and they're not going to get their orders, their marching orders on what to say. And I feel they're kind of flailing, of what to do because they're not getting directives from Obama or whoever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like they're just kind of lost right now. There's no leader of the Democratic Party. They're desperately trying to find somebody. The only one they have maybe is John Fetterman, but he's agreeing with Trump a lot of the time, so they don't know what to do with him. They just refuse to let go of this woke nonsense and the trans agenda and all this stuff. They refuse to admit defeat, and they're just doubling down. But this is the first time where I've seen that they cannot garner support. Plus, they would have money buying protesters and actors to come on and to go out and protest. That money's dried up. They don't have money to buy protesters anymore or put ads on Craigslist to get people to come out and march in the streets. You notice that? Nobody's marching in the streets. Why? Because there's no money to pay them to be there. That's dried up too. So that you're going to see the end of all of that stuff. And I don't think the Democrats know what to do now.
No, and when the midterms come around, they're in big trouble because all of their political action committees and everything are funded by that USAID. Now, I want to thank all of our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. And if you'd like to support the program by becoming a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of this and every episode of the program. And when you become a Patreon supporter, you have access to commercial-free editions of each and every podcast episode. And I want to thank our top Patreon supporters for their support. The names you'll hear now, these are our top Patreon supporters. And we have a new top Patreon supporter to add to our list. And I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Mike P, Carlos, Paulette, John, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Richard, Alice, K-Mac, LeeZep, Shawna, Constance, George, Brandon, Rob and Trish Wilkerson, Christy R, John S, and our newest top Patreon supporter, Frank. Thanks so much, Frank, and welcome to the group. Well, we're going to take a quick break and be right back. I'm Brian Craig, Kathy, of course, here with me. Don't go anywhere. Back after this.
Motherhood, it's messy, chaotic, and filled with endless judgments from your family, friends, even total strangers. From feeding choices to sleep routines, career decisions to school lunches, everyone has an opinion on how you should raise your child. From psychologist, author, and proud mother of two amazing children, Ava Harper, comes the book that all moms will want to add to their must-read list. Motherhood Unfiltered, available on Amazon. Motherhood Unfiltered is a hilarious and brutally honest guide to surviving the pressures of modern parenting. Author Ava Harper takes you on a journey through the absurd expectations placed on mothers today, blending humor, wisdom, and practical advice to help you tune out the noise and trust your instincts. Real moms say Motherhood Unfiltered is real, honest, and empowering. It's filled with humor and offers a refreshing, relatable perspective on motherhood. Another mom says hilarious and relatable. Finally, a parenting book that doesn't sugarcoat anything. Encouraging, witty, and full of practical advice. Motherhood Unfiltered made me feel seen as a mom. Another mother commented, "My husband and I both loved it. It's the perfect book for any parent who's tired of the guilt and the critics." Motherhood Unfiltered is more than just a parenting guide. It's a movement, an invitation to laugh at the chaos, silence the critics, and embrace motherhood on your own terms. Whether you're a new mom, a seasoned pro, or just looking for a good laugh, Motherhood Unfiltered will leave you feeling more confident, more empowered, and a whole lot less alone. Because at the end of the day, if you love your child, you're doing it right. Parenting with love, logic, and a lot of humor. Now available on Amazon and Kindle, paperback, and Kindle Unlimited. Order your copy today and join the revolution of moms who are done playing by everyone else's rules. Motherhood Unfiltered from author and mom Ava Harper on Amazon. Brian here. Right now, Mike Lindell at MyPillow is offering his first ever mega sale. With our promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout, you could save big money on top MyPillow products, the MyPillow sheets, the MyPillow 6-piece towel set, the MyPillow that started it all, and much, much more. And free shipping on all orders. That's right, free shipping on all orders with our promo code KANE at checkout. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879, 1-800-716-4879. Deep down, all of us want to get into our ideal shape, but very often we struggle and don't know how. Toward Your Healthy Self is a diet and maintenance program and course created by best-selling author, life coach, and motivational speaker, Rabbi Yisroel Juskowitz. Over the years, he has been privileged to help countless numbers of people achieve their lifelong dreams. He created a course which contains a wonderful and viable diet and maintenance plan approved by one of the top nutritionists in the country. The course also contains guided meditation, as well as spiritual and psychological techniques to help you achieve long-lasting results. You can go to his website, towardyourhealthyself.com. Yisrael looks forward to helping you with your own weight loss journey. Again, his website is towardyourhealthyself.com. Imagine bringing the beauty of the outdoors inside. Lush botanical prints, nature-inspired decor, and cozy touches that transform your home into a peaceful retreat. That's exactly what you will find at Golden Greenhouse LLC on Etsy.com, where nature meets design. The founder of Golden Greenhouse LLC is Jen. She's a former designer for QVC and HSN. Golden Greenhouse LLC is her dream turned reality, combining her years of expertise with a deep love for gardening as well as home decor. At Golden Greenhouse LLC, you'll find designer wallpaper, plush throw pillows, blankets, and that's just the beginning of the exciting inventory at Golden Greenhouse LLC. Everything is crafted to bring warmth, style, and nature's magic to your space. Whether you're refreshing a room or finding that perfect gift, every piece is crafted with love and inspired by the beauty of the natural world. Use the promo code IHEART25 and save 25% on all orders over $75. Go right now to goldengreenhousellc.etsy.com. Explore the collection. You will be impressed. Decor and gifts inspired by nature that bring the outdoors inside. goldengreenhousellc.etsy.com.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast. Thanks for listening, everyone. And make sure you follow and subscribe on whatever platform you are listening to. Okay. You know, the Doge team has the Washington establishment so upset. You know, it's amazing that they're openly opposing the Doge team, because all the Doge team is doing is cutting out government waste. And I know people will say, well, you know, these government people don't want to cut out government waste. Well, of course they don't, because that's all the money they're stealing, all kickbacks and stuff. That's why they're all rich in Washington. But to do it openly, they're openly on television and online, constantly saying, we've got to stop all this financial corruption, all this stealing, all this thievery that's going on. We got to stop it. Elon Musk, a terrible guy, he's stopping us from it. They're really literally saying that. It has them panicked beyond measure. And, you know, it's also a thing that no one ever even imagined President Trump would do something like the Doge team. Who would have thought, right? Who would have thought? They thought they had a bit of a victory because they put out some story on one of the Doge teams, and then he got let go temporarily. Big Balls. Remember the guy that calls himself Big Balls online? I'd like to know all the private handles that all these establishment people have. Remember, what was Mitt Romney's? Pierre Delecto, and what was that Democrat that was, oh boy. Well, you know, some have come up over the years and they've had some funny names. But anyway, that kid is a genius. I saw a video of him over the weekend on how he was able to use a computer in his dorm room when he was at the University of Nebraska and be able to read these scrolls that were found in the aftermath of Mount Vesuvius. That what had happened was they had these scrolls, they were all burned. They knew they were scrolls, and they couldn't make out any writing on them. And for a long, long time, of course, you know, they wanted to find out if there was any writing on them. And a group of professors offered a $40,000 reward to anyone in the world who could find writing on these scrolls. And this Big Balls from the Doge team did it. So these are geniuses. I mean, these are very smart people. So anyway, the Doge, when what they're doing is something that no one had ever imagined being done. And not only has no one ever imagined it be done, no one thought it was ever possible to do something like this. And President Trump, he was interviewed by Bret Baier for the Super Bowl. He told him he's going to have him go after he's going to have him look into the Department of Education and then the military. I mean, can you imagine the money they're stealing? So Dana Bash has Christy Nome on CNN over the weekend. And Dana Bash, you know, you got to remember, Dana Bash is deep state CIA. She used to be married to John King on CNN, but her husband that she gets the Bash name from is a senior CIA guy. And she is one of these Washington insider deep staters like no one's business. She's a mediocre talent, and she doesn't even, there's never a moment that Dana Bash seems pleasant on television. She always seems miserable and pissed off, doesn't she? So anyway, so this is Dana Bash, and she has Christy Nome on. Listen to this.
Victims. Have you authorized Elon Musk and his team to have access to Americans' personal data that is housed inside DHS?
Yeah, we're working with them at the president's direction to find what we can do to make our department much more efficient. So I think it's important. This is essentially an audit of the federal government, which is very powerful and needs to have happen. That agency, and one of the things I've been very clear to the appropriators in the Senate and the House is please give me the authority to reprogram funds. There's funds,
but that's different from him having access.
Okay. Now, this whole thing, they're acting as if Elon Musk is some type of security risk. And just a couple things about Elon Musk. First of all, he used to own PayPal. And Elon Musk even said when he had PayPal, he had access to the entire financial data of every person that was on PayPal, and there was never any abuse. And on top of that, you got to remember, Elon Musk has the highest top secret clearance that the government has because of SpaceX. He launches rockets. You know, I watch them all the time. He launches rockets almost every day. And lately, sometimes it's been more than one a day from right here at Cape Kennedy in Florida. And if he was such a danger, I want you to think about this now. There's certain things, you know, Steve Kane has this expression. Whenever I reference one of his expressions, I got to give him credit because some of them are just so good. There's this expression that Steve Kane uses. It's called, it doesn't pass the smile test. It's a good one, right? It doesn't pass the smile test. I'm going to play the rest of this, but Dana Bash is acting, and they all are acting, as if Elon Musk is some type of big security risk. Yet not only does he have the highest top secret clearance because of SpaceX, he launches rockets every day, as I was just telling you. If he was such a dangerous person, why would they give him control of rockets? They don't have to go up in space. You don't think he had the ability to take one of those rockets and have it go anywhere he wants, like New York City or something, right? If he were dangerous, they act like it's, you know, if he was as dangerous as Dana Bash and these leftists and the fake news media want you to think that he is, it would be the equivalent of getting like the Taliban or Al Qaeda control of SpaceX and have rockets. It makes no sense. So anyway, back to this. This is Dana Bash with Christy Nome.
That's different from him having access to personal data that is housed in.
The president has authorized him to have access.
And you feel
to that,
comfortable?
So absolutely.
I remember a time when Republicans were
I mean, he's sending rockets up over our planet every day. I don't hear anyone uncomfortable with him having access to an endless supply of rockets that he could launch anywhere.
Very careful about and worried about the government, particularly unelected people.
Well, we can't trust the government anymore.
Having access to personal data.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Christy Nome's sitting right there with Dana Bash. You know, Dana Bash is not elected as Homeland Secretary. She's been appointed by the president, like Elon's been appointed by the president. You know, but she thinks people shouldn't have access to personal data. Well, what about all this break-in in Mar-a-Lago when they went through all of President Trump's personal things there?
Oh, absolutely.
Remember the FBI, when they broke into Mar-a-Lago, they brought a safecracker and they broke into President Trump's safe?
Personal data.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You are the government.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, is that the American people now are saying that we have had our personal information shared and out there in the public.
Elon Musk has access to it.
Elon Musk is part of the administration that is helping us identify where we can find savings.
You know, this is like news to Dana Bash, you know, what Christy Nome just said. Yeah, but Elon Musk is part of the administration. They're trying to create this narrative, and I think maybe they believe it, some of them, because they're in such a panic that he's getting control of their money, or taking their money away, I should say, you know, exposing the corruption. It's like shocking to Dana Bash, the idea that Elon Musk is part of the administration. Yeah, he is.
Musk is part of the administration that is helping us identify where we can find savings and what we can do. And he has gone through the processes to make sure that he has the authority.
You're totally
the president has granted him.
You're totally comfortable
I am
with that.
Today by the work that he's doing by identifying waste, fraud, and abuse. And his information that he has is looking at programs, not focusing on personal data and information.
Not focusing on it, but he has access to it.
We'll be continuing to talk to him about what all he has access to. But this audit needs to happen to make sure that we are going through a process that adds integrity back into these programs. And people's personal information has been out there in these caseworks that have been closed for a long time, that people are getting responses now that they haven't had before.
Okay. Now, I love this. They act as if Elon Musk, who's a direct representative of the president. I mean, the way to think of Elon Musk is this. He's like Tom Homan. Tom Homan is the border czar, right? He's the border czar. So Elon Musk is the government accountability czar, or the government audit czar, or the Doge czar. It's the same thing. And, when you're in a panic attack, a state of anxiety, which all of them are, they can't see they can't see clearly what's going on here. Now, here is a member of Congress who once described the attacks of September 11th. You remember 2001, they knocked down the buildings, United 93, the Pentagon. This is a member of Congress who said on September 11th, some people did some things. Remember that nonsense, that craziness, that psycho? That's Ilhan Omar. And Ilhan Omar was with Margaret Brennan on Face the Nation. Listen.
Yeah, I mean, what we are witnessing is a constitutional crisis. We are seeing an executive branch that has decided that they are no longer going to abide by the Constitution.
Okay, I don't, this is just what Donald Trump needs, is Ilhan Omar, and a funny accent there, telling Donald Trump about the Constitution. And I want to point something out here. This just popped in my brain as I was thinking and listening. Ilhan Omar said on 9/11, some people did some things, which is a vile comment to make. On September 12th, I want you to think about what I'm telling you right now. On September 12th, you guys remember that? Oh man, that was a rough week. If I would have told, Face the Nation's been around for a long time. It was on TV then. If I told you 24 years in the future, in 2025, on Face the Nation, trying to hold that president, who was the president, who will be the president in the future, accountable, is a Muslim woman who's a member of Congress, and the host of CBS's Face the Nation is going to be a woman who's married to a Muslim man. If I told you that on September 12th, you would have told me I was crazy. You would have said, Brian, you have no credibility. How can you be doing a show with that lack of credibility? But that's exactly what's going on right here. Ilhan Omar is Muslim, and Margaret Brennan is married to a Syrian American, a Muslim man. So it does not surprise me that two people with that kind of background in their life don't like an America first kind of president. They're about other parts of the world, mainly the Muslim world first.
Yeah, I mean, what we are witnessing is a constitutional crisis. We are seeing an executive branch that has decided that they are no longer going to abide by the Constitution in honoring Congress's role in the creation of the agencies, in their role in deciding where money is allocated.
Okay, ask yourself this. Have you ever... Because, sometimes people steal from workplaces, right? Employee theft is a thing. Embezzlement is a thing. Have you ever in your life heard of any story? Because what they're doing is embezzling money from the federal government. Many of it's bribes, kickbacks, and such. But have you ever heard a story where there was embezzlement going on at a company? Someone found out about the embezzlement. They ratted the person out. And then everyone publicly was on television or online going after the person that exposed the embezzling of funds. I've never heard of such a thing before. Only in this instance, because all the people that are doing the griping about it, we heard you the first time, Ilhan. All the people that are doing the griping are the ones that are the recipients of the embezzled funds from the federal government. That's it. I mean, there's just no getting around it. Now, an amazing thing happened today on our northern border. And, a lot of people, that's Canada, right? A lot of people have pointed out that Canada, the open border there is much more dangerous than the southern border. And the more dangerous people like terrorists come through the northern border than the southern border. And the reason that is because the U.S. border with Canada is an unfortified border, and it's a long border. So there's a lot of places to easily cross. And Canada did something I've never heard of them doing before. This is in the Daily Mail. A group of migrants were caught trying to sneak over the northern border from Canada into the United States. And it was cold, too. 22 degrees below zero, 22 degrees below zero. And Canada stepped in and stopped them. Listen to this. Canadian police intercepted 2 separate groups making the risky journey, including 5 children who were wearing inadequate clothing in the freezing cold that was 22 degrees below zero, reported by The Guardian. Assistant Commissioner Lisa Moreland delivered a chilling warning about the heartbreaking situation that could have ended tragically. So here we, for the first time ever, that, and to my knowledge, Canada has stopped illegals from coming into our country. I have never heard an instance of that happening ever before. And there's only one reason. And we all know what the one reason is. And the one reason is because Donald Trump is putting the screws to Canada, just like he is Mexico and the rest of the world. America's back. And Canada doesn't want to piss off Daddy Trump. That's exactly right. I mean, they act like there's something wrong with having a president that wants to protect our borders, keep us safe, stop people from stealing money from the federal government. I mean, I want you to really think about this. If you're not MAGA already, okay? If you're not MAGA already, what is Donald Trump doing that is really that bad? And I just happened a little earlier today, I was at the grocery store and I checked out the price of eggs. I was at Publix here in Florida. And those of you not in Florida, Publix is the big grocery chain. Pretty much everyone in the state of Florida lives within 2 to 3 miles of a Publix. They're that common. And I looked at the eggs and I looked at the Publix eggs and they're under $6 a dozen. Now it was $5.65 a dozen, something like that. $5.65 a dozen. Now that's the store brand, the Publix brand of eggs. I guess that's like the generic brand. And they weren't even low on stock of those eggs. And I'm hearing people still on my YouTube chat room, these trolls come in there. All they talk about is the high cost of eggs. And if you go online, like on X, and you see people putting up little videos showing the egg prices, look and see what eggs they're looking at. They're looking at like the cruelty-free farm eggs, all these specially organic eggs. I don't know what all the deal with these fancy eggs is all about. I just know that, my whole life, anytime I go to the store to buy eggs, I always buy the store brand eggs. Is there really a difference? Can you tell a difference? Is there a difference between the cruelty-free, whatever they feed it eggs as opposed to the store-bought eggs? I don't know, maybe. But, I've never bought the fancy eggs in my life. And I'm not saying that $5.65 is inexpensive. I don't know what eggs should be. I know what's going on that's driving them up, but the price of eggs is nowhere near what they're telling you. Okay, they're going to the fancy eggs and they're showing those and saying, "Look how much eggs are." Well, those eggs are always expensive. When I went to the store today, I bought milk. If I would have bought the fancy milk as opposed to the store brand milk, yeah, it'd be more expensive. And maybe you guys can help me about with this cruelty-free farm business. How cruelty-free is it if it ends with the chicken getting its head cut off at some point? Can you explain that to me? I never quite understood the idea of the cruelty-free farm. Now, I want to talk about Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting and Roofing. We found Tom Laporta because Steve had leaks on his roof that he ignored, and he had all kinds of problems. And not only did he give Steve a new roof, but Steve, and a beautiful roof it is, had neglected the leak in his roof for so long it caused all kinds of damage. 40% of his drywall was infected with deadly black mold. The water from the leaks in the roof became a breeding ground for termites. So his house not only was leaking, the termites were eating his house. It was a mess. And if Steve would have called Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting and Roofing when he saw that first wet spot on the ceiling, he would have avoided all of that, because Tom Laporta will never sell you a roof you do not need. If you just need a simple repair, he'll do it. And Steve very well could have just gotten a simple repair as opposed to a new roof. 40% of his drywall had to be replaced. Some other things had to be replaced too because of the termites. It was a lot of work. that could have been avoided. He probably just needed a simple repair. If you're in the state of Florida, give Tom Laporta a call. He's a good MAGA guy. He works on every type of structure, residential, commercial, municipal, warehouses, churches, schools. He can handle the job of any size. So if you have an HOA or an apartment building or a condo community or just a homeowners association that has 300 units in it, he can handle the job of that size too. Now, the number I'm going to give you is his cell phone. You can call or text Tom Laporta on his cell phone. I'm also going to give you his website, but the number on his website is not his cell phone. Okay. So yeah, that's the main office number, but you want to get the owner of the company directly. Call him, send him a text if you want. He'd love to talk to you. 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. That's 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaRoofing.com. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast. I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll be back right after this. Parenting is tough, but giving bad advice, that's easy. The Bad Dad Advice podcast is where 4 dads, a rookie, and 2 so-called pros share their hilariously terrible takes on fatherhood. Need sleep training tips? They got them. Will they work? Doubt it. Trying to keep your house clean? Lower your expectations. Bad Dad Advice is a casual, no-pressure, all-laughs podcast about the ups and downs of being a dad. Make sure you subscribe because they really need this podcast to do well. If this podcast fails, the guys are stuck doing chores. New episodes of Bad Dad Advice drop each week. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcast. Bad Dad Advice Podcast, the worst advice you'll ever love. Start listening right now. Brian here. Right now, Mike Lindell at MyPillow is offering his first ever mega sale. With our promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout, you could save big money on top MyPillow products, the MyPillow sheets, the MyPillow 6-piece towel set, the MyPillow that started it all, and much, much more. And free shipping on all orders. That's right, free shipping on all orders with our promo code KANE at checkout. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879, 1-800-716-4879. Space is deep, man is small, and time is his relentless enemy. Celebrate the 75th anniversary of the science fiction classic To the Stars from L. Ron Hubbard, available on Amazon. In To the Stars, a young engineer is shanghaied into deep space, where time bends and reality twists. How far is too far? He's about to find out. Experience this thrilling adventure in Kindle, paperback, hardcover, and audiobook on Amazon. To the Stars from L. Ron Hubbard. Barnes & Noble Exploration says it's just as timely, just as awe-inspiring, and just as profoundly moving as it was in 1950. Order your copy right now.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, so some news dropped over the weekend that is just causing the eyes to spin and the alarm bells to go off, because the media just can't understand this one. And CBS, they did a poll and they came out with Trump's approval rating. Listen to this. This is Margaret Brennan again from the Ilhan Omar interview.
Our CBS poll finds that a majority of Americans, 53%, approve of the job he's doing. That's a better approval number than he ever reached during his first term in the White House. Joining us with more is our Executive Director of Elections and Surveys, Anthony Salvanto. Good to see you, Anthony.
Okay, now they just don't understand this, because in their world, everyone hates Trump. And, you got to wonder if they're giving him 53% approval. A good rule of thumb with these fake news media polls is look at each poll and then add 10 points to it in Trump's favor, at least. It's probably like 63%, especially with all this Doge stuff.
What's driving this?
I will keep it simple, Margaret. He's doing, in the eyes of the public, what he said he would do in the campaign.
Well, yeah, but also doing what the people want him to do. And a lot of people are pissed off at all these things that Doge is finding out.
There's political value in that. In fact, 70% of people say he's doing what he promised. That's whether they approve of him or not. Now, there's another part of this that continues over from the campaign. There were words that he was described as being tough, being energetic, and he still is today in big majority numbers. So as people take a look in these first few weeks, there's been a lot of activity. They're getting that general sense of governance, and that's being reflected in these early numbers.
Yeah, and it's governance and doing the things that the people want him to do. You know, there's a lot of people in this country that had given up on politics a long time ago, or maybe they never got involved because Washington, they didn't think cared about them. And they were right to think that way. Only Donald Trump, right? Really. So people would just kind of ignore it or accept it. But now there's real change. That was Obama's whole campaign slogan. Remember that? Change? There was no change. It was worse. He's like J. Edgar Hoover with all the spying on Trump and the lawfare that's all Obama's doing. It was no change. It was a quadrupling down of the establishment. In fact, the only change we've had really meaningful in any president, any of our lifetimes, is Trump.
So that's perception. What about the actual policies?
Well, let's start with the ones that are popular. And again, these echo a lot.
They're all popular. All of his policies. He just won the popular vote in every battleground state. All of his decisions are popular.
Of what we saw in the campaign, the idea of deporting those in the country illegally continues to be popular. We saw that in the campaign. Sending troops to the U.S.-Mexico border. Again, majority in favor. We'd seen that in the campaign. For his supporters in particular, the focus on ending DEI is popular. We had seen in the campaign, a lot of them thought those processes had gone too far.
Yeah, now he was a little vague on that, but really what they're talking when it comes to the DEI, in general, everyone's fed up with the DEI, but in particular, the thing with the women's sports. Okay, that's really what has people upset. Every single thing that President Trump has done as the 47th president has been just light years beyond even what he did in his first term. Imagine he's trumping himself. He was so great in the first term, but in this term, it's like, boom, full speed ahead. He was telling Brett Baer, he said, you know, he said this time, he said, I have a team of people working with me. You know, he had people working against him last time. Not in Congress, right? Paul Ryan and Mitch. But could you imagine if Mitch McConnell was still calling the shots in the Senate or Paul Ryan was the speaker? The reason that the wall didn't get finished in the first term was because of Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan, not Pelosi and Schumer. You know, and now he has a loyal Congress and he has loyal people in his administration, and they are just fuming in Washington because before they had all these spies inside his administration that would stop things. They had the Congress, even though it was Republican his first 2 years of his first term, that were stopping him from doing things. It goes on and on and on. The bureaucrats would slow walk carrying out his orders, if any. Now, here's another clip I want to play. The Sunday shows were pretty busy this weekend because, you know, they're flipping out. This is Chris Murphy. He's a Democrat senator. He's also obsessed about Elon.
To have you here this morning, you have used incredibly strong language, a constitutional crisis, grossly unconstitutional, pretty alarming language.
Yeah, listen, I think this is the most serious constitutional crisis the country has faced, certainly since Watergate.
Wow, this is a constitutional crisis? How is it a I understand it's a crisis for the thieves that have been stealing all the money. But how is it a constitutional crisis that the president of the United States has put the Doge czar in charge of finding out who is stealing money from the U.S. Treasury? How's that a crisis, and a bigger constitutional crisis than even Watergate? Watergate was jaywalking compared to the constitutional crisis we've been in the last 4 years when they were arresting a president, putting a president on trial, breaking into a president's house. I thought that was a constitutional crisis.
The president is attempting to seize control of power and for corrupt purposes.
He's doing the opposite. Now, see, this is 1984, right? George Orwell, changing the meaning of words, right? Exposing corruption is now corruption.
The president wants to be able to decide how and where money is spent so that he can reward his political friends.
No, he wants to find out where money. They were giving $50 million to the New York Times. How is that legit? How is that not? Who could with a straight face say that the New York Times should receive $50 million a year, or Disney Plus, the streaming app for Disney, was receiving $18 million a month in subscriptions that USAID was paying for. Probably dummy subscriptions. It's not like they bought subscriptions for the kids of the world or something. It was a payback to Disney.
He can punish his political enemies. That is the evisceration of democracy. You stand that next to the wholesale endorsement of political violence with...
Oh, my goodness. I can't listen to any more of him, but there's no violence going on. The only people that are trying to break in the buildings are these Democrat senators that are trying to break into USAID's office, the Department of Education. Now, they've been on overtime, leading groups of people trying to break into places. But, when President Trump was president-elect this last time, everything that you heard in the media was really going after Elon. They started this President Musk, Vice President Trump, and they thought, oh, he's got an ego, Trump. He'll get rid of him with that if we keep calling Elon the president. It's just stupid. These guys are best friends. And Margaret Brennan did something today. It's hilarious. The Sunday shows this weekend. And I've been following the Sunday. I know the Sunday shows typically are boring, right? It's like, it's watching grass grow most of the time. But this weekend, the Sunday shows were like must-see television because they're all having meltdowns. Most of it was dedicated to attacking the process of stopping stealing money from the U.S. Treasury, Elon Musk and Doge. And Margaret Brennan, she did another segment on Doge. The whole show was about Doge. She had a person on whose identity was being hidden, right? They were blacked out, and you didn't know who they were, and they were an employee of USAID. Okay, listen to this.
Why in our conversation do you think you need to remain anonymous?
It has been.
You hear this voice, and the person is blacked out and blurred. Okay, it's like a black outline. I don't even know if there's really a person there. And the way they're doing this voice, my goodness, it's like a criminal they got here that's on the lam.
Why in our conversation do you think you need to remain anonymous?
It has been a very hard week.
Yeah, well, when when you're leading a team of robbers from the U.S. Treasury, that can be difficult.
Personally, professionally, as I said, I live in Washington, D.C. Many of my colleagues work in this field. Starting from January 21st, so the first day of the new administration, things started to go sideways very quickly.
I bet.
The atmosphere of fear that was in the USAID building, which we're no longer in.
Yeah, of course there's fear because they've been stealing money by the billions and they've been doing it for decades, and the police are coming. Okay? When you're a criminal and the police come in, you get nervous because they might catch you.
The atmosphere of fear in terms of not knowing who was in the building, not knowing what their motivations were, not knowing if our emails or channels were safe, not knowing how to interpret these executive orders around DEIA or administration priorities.
This is amazing. Did you see any concern when they broke into President Trump's home at Mar-a-Lago, where he and his wife and Barron lived? I didn't hear any concern about who was in the building then at Mar-a-Lago. Did you, when they were going through Melania's underwear drawer and through her closet and tossing the president's desk and throwing the contents on the floor and taking pictures of it, or bringing the safecracker and breaking into the president's safe? Or what about that time they got Mike Lindell at the drive-thru with the fast food and took his cell phone? I didn't hear any concerns then. Did Doge behave that way when they were at USAID?
All of that created an atmosphere of massive insecurity. And so people have, I think, lost the ability to know what's true from what's not at this point. Everyone is really scared. And so, I have a daughter. I have a family like most Americans, and I want to be brave. I think it's really important to share our personal stories at this time, but I am afraid, and I just don't want to put them at any more risk than I have.
Well, why would you be afraid unless you've been working in a money laundering operation at USAID? If you're doing the good work legally of USAID, you shouldn't be afraid. Why would you be afraid?
When you say doxed,
Yeah, and they go on and on. This is a very long interview, but I'm not going to play any more of it. Now, this is going to be their new tactic. Okay, they'll try this for a couple days, and then it'll fizzle out, and they'll try something else. But what they're trying right now is they're trying to make the USAID workers, like this person whose identity's been hidden there, they're trying to make them seem like they're victims, right? Oh, they're victims. They're worried. They're worried. They got kids. This one here, we don't know if it's a male or female, has a daughter. Oh, my goodness. No one is going to shed a tear for these thieves at USAID, okay? Now, the ones that are nervous are the ones they're afraid they're going to go to prison because they're not famous or connected. They're not a senator. They're not in the Congress. So they don't have protections that a lot of these people do. So I understand. But my recommendation would be is to call Pam Bondi's office if you're scared. You know, the first one to squeal gets the deal. So if you're USAID and you're worried and you know details of the corruption, make a deal with Pam Bondi. I'm sure she would not mind having you as a state's witness against the corruption going on at USAID. But the whole thing with these weekend shows, it shows you how out of touch with reality the Washington class are, which includes the Sunday show media, right? They actually do believe that Elon Musk and Donald Trump are the ones in the wrong here with USAID. They really think that's their personal piggy bank. And you know, I didn't hear Margaret Brennan explaining why Chelsea Clinton received $84 million from USAID. And how much of that went to buy that $10 million apartment she has in New York City? Or that big ring she got for her wedding. I don't know. I don't hear them asking those questions. I hear them talking about children overseas. And believe me, if there were children going hungry, they would be on CNN all day and all night. There are no children going hungry because of this. Now, there's corrupt politicians all over the world and in this country that aren't getting the check anymore because we're in a new month and the USAID checks haven't gone out and they're not going to. They've been cut off. So I know a lot of them are panicked. And a lot of these politicians may get their cars repoed and their houses repossessed. And some of these media outlets like Politico may not be able to make payroll or pay their office rent. But if there were hungry children because of this, I promise you, they would be all over television. OK, they'd be all over TV. What they're doing in the media is it's almost like they're ready to do an updated USA for Africa for all the hungry children of the world that were being fed by USAID. Believe me, no one's going hungry because of Doge. Now, you know, Dr. Philip Appleton, with his laser wave pain treatment, you guys have heard me talk about it. He's rid me of pain 7 times. It's amazing what his laser treatment does. You know, he is able to find in your body where the pain is coming from, and that's what he treats with the laser. And the laser, which is 100% painless, you don't even feel it. There's no feeling or sensation at all. You really don't. It's just a light. You don't feel it at all. Not only is it painless, there's no feeling or sensation. But what the laser does is repair the damage that is causing the pain. And that's why the 7 times that he's treated me with the laser wave pain treatment, the pain hasn't returned, is because he has repaired the damage that was causing me the pain. Starting with my knee that I suffered with pain in since I was about 20 years old. And now over 30 years later, I've been pain-free for 2.5 years, which is when he treated me. It's absolutely amazing. The laser treatment works on every type of pain I've ever heard. Now, appointments are not necessary and walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays. However, a lot of our listeners travel in from out of town, out of state, other parts of the country. You can make an appointment. And if you're coming in from out of town or out of state, call ahead and make an appointment. You don't have to. You can walk in no matter where you're from, but you can make an appointment. Okay. It's a no-charge consultation. If you have x-rays, MRIs, or any scans or whatever, bring them with you, and Dr. Appleton will look them over. Give him a call and say bye-bye to your pain, like I've done 7 times. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. That's AppletonCairo.com. My name's Brian Craig. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. If you're new, make sure you follow and subscribe on whatever platform you are listening to me on. I'm Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk.